What's going on, y'all? This is Traveler Man. Do my next YouTube video. Today I'm going to talk about Dame Dash and Monique, and these are people I have a lot of respect for. But this video is called Black When Convenient. I feel like they speak about empowerment and things now, but when they at the height of their success, they really didn't speak on it. They're only speaking on it now because they pretty much been banned from the industry, and it's really their fault. That's my whole point here. Like I said, I know the language is kind of bad in the last one, so I'm gonna keep it just to a minimum. So I'm just gonna break this down here. So what I mean by that in that regards is, it's more of a burden to talk about these things. When you're at the height of your success, people want to be placed on that status, but they don't want to pay the price. Muhammad Ali, at the height of his success, he lost. He won the heavyweight title. They stripped his title for him. He couldn't make money. They wouldn't let him fight. If it wasn't for people like our brother Joe Frazier, Ali would have really been in the bad. He was broke. He didn't have anything. But he said, still, I'm not fighting going over to Vietnam to fight when I don't have my rights here in America. I can't go in a restaurant and eat because I'm black. And you want me to fight somebody else? That's foul. I'm not doing it. A lot of things were going on at the time. That was around the time Malcolm X got assassinated. A lot of members of the NOI were getting killed. Ali's house got bombed. Like really, it was going down in the streets, and he still stuck to his guns. That's why we hold him in such high regards. Brothers like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they knew their days were numbered and still spoke up for black people. That's why they held in that regards. Other people want to be put in that status. They're trying to, in one way or another, Monique and Dame Dash are kind of trying to put themselves in that kind of space, like they're speaking up, but they didn't really do it till they pretty much got banned from the industry, and it's really their fault, just to be honest about that. And I'm gonna break down their careers and how everything kind of goes together. Now, I'm not one of these people. See, a lot of people are fooled because a lot of people are. I'm not saying fooled that way, but a lot of people are younger, so they don't know the whole story or the whole Rockefeller story. Dude, I've been, I said, I've been, you know, you know, I'm a big music fan, but dude, I've been listening to Rockefeller, that label. I watched their whole movement start from beginning to the end of it. I'm talking about '95. You know what I'm saying? That's why how far I go back to '95. You know what I mean? I'm not just one of these people that just started listening to their music in the early 2000s, or now you just see Dame Dash doing these videos and things like that, these empowerment videos and things like that. I'm talking about from day one. A lot of people don't know, like, just starting off with the whole Rockefeller story. I remember, Rockefeller was started by, Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Dame Dash, and Kareem Biggs Burke. A lot of people don't even know who Biggs is. It was all three of them who started the label. But like I said, Biggs is, I'll kind of get in this a little bit further, but Biggs is he did what a businessman's supposed to do. He wasn't, to this day, the guy's kind of behind the scenes. He just was handling business. He's not really into the spotlight like that. But the whole Rockefeller story, hey man, these are three young, ambitious young men. Dame Dash and Biggs are from Harlem, and Jay-Z's from Brooklyn. But they hooked up and said, hey, we want to build the label ourselves because nobody was signing Jay-Z. We have aspirations to make it happen. So they all got together and end up getting, starting Rockefeller independent label. Now, let's say going back, I remember Jay-Z had a single called "In My Lifetime," the single, not the album, in '95. That started bubbling, which eventually got him a deal, him a deal with Priority Records in 1996. That album is called "Reasonable Doubt," and Reasonable Doubt was distributed by Priority Records. Now, Reasonable Doubt is Jay Z's best album. You know what I mean? It has some singles on the bubble, but it didn't really get past a certain point. They were in a bad deal at the time. It is what it is. So this is how the Def Jam connection comes in. '96, it was the Nutty Professor soundtrack. The Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy. That was a huge movie, big box office success, and the soundtrack went platinum too. It was a hit soundtrack. Now, at the time, and you can read interviews about this. They were literally giving money to DJs to play Jay-Z's records because they weren't really playing them. Even though Reasonable Doubt was a classic, it just never got over that pump. So they knew, Dead Presidents came out. The single was, not trying to be nice. The single was "Ain't No Nigga." That was they figured like, hey, this is this is a single that can carry some weight, but we got to have somebody distribute it. And even though New York is obviously a big place, but the industry, especially at that time, was small. So what they did was, they knew the Rockefeller cats were on the come up. Russell Simmons and Leo Cohen and those guys. They knew, they saw their movement coming on. So you know what, we'll do is that we're not gonna take y'all's money. We like Jay Z. We like what you guys are doing. Let's put your single on the soundtrack. And they didn't have to do that. I mean, like I said, a big soundtrack like that. I mean, a lot of people would have begged to be on a soundtrack like that. They put it on there. That single had wings. They shot a video and everything, and then boom, Rockefeller blew up. And then after that, they end up signing Rockefeller for distribution. And say what you want. I mean, they had a lot of success with Def Jam. 1997, Jay-Z dropped the In My Lifetime album. And from 1997 to 2004, Jay-Z had 7 platinum albums on Def Jam. You didn't have that before. Facts. And, you just didn't have that before. So, you were successful, with them. It wasn't that bad of a deal if you stayed there that long, just being honest. And at that time, Def Jam was run by Russell Simmons and Leo Cohen. Def Jam with the Polygram distribution at the time, where they signed Method Man, Redman, a lot of big acts, Ludacris, DMX, Jay-Z, Kanye West. And Leo Cohen was the co-president at that time. And like I said, you had all the success with Leo Cohen. Now, I don't know Leo Cohen personally. I mean, I'm not saying he's he's perfect or, hey, man, all I can say about Leo Cohen is, I mean, what do you expect? What I'm saying is, hey, he put cats in positions to get money. That's all you can say. I mean, he signed on these acts. These cats became millionaires, behind Leo Cohen's lead. That's just a fact. Whether you like him or not, that's just what it is. What do you really expect, this guy to do? I don't have to go all the way there. I'm just being real. What do you really expect him to do? He put y'all in a position to get money. If you mess that up, I mean, that's on you. And the thing is, they stayed from 97 to 2004. I mean, you stayed there for almost a decade, because Dame Dash keeps talking about how Leo is a culture vulture and he broke up Rockefeller. Do you stay there with the dude for 7 years, almost a decade? If it was so bad, how come you didn't leave earlier? You left priority quicker. But you stayed with this dude for 7 years. It wasn't that bad. And let's keep it real. We got pictures of Dame Dash and Leo Cohen all hugged up. Everything was cool. Only after, like I said, Dame Dash has been kicked out the industry, does he have a problem? Dame Dash is not being honest about what's going on. Now, in the beginning of the Rockefeller days, because like I said, I watched this movie from day one. Like a lot of y'all are just, kind of younger, just now getting hip to Dame Dash and his videos and stuff like that. But I'm talking about, I've seen this from day one. And, in the early days of Rockefeller, Dame was the guy that was saying, hey, man, Jay-Z is the best, man. That's my man right here. He's the best. And that's what you need to kind of get yourself out there. Once they got through the door, you can kind of just chill. And his ego just went to his head. So you see the empowerment videos now, and I understand when you're young and all, but look at MTV Cribs and look at old videos of Dame Dash. Dame Dash was not talking about black empowerment back then. Let's be real. He kept saying, I pop tags. I never wear the same clothes twice. I never wear the same sneakers twice. You see him in a big pimping video pouring champagne on women and stuff like that. That's what he was about back then. He didn't care about the other stuff. Let's be real. Even to the point to where, like nowadays, we know what went down. What's going on with R. Kelly right now. R. Kelly, he was dealing with Aaliyah when she was 15 and all that. And of course, we know Dame was engaged to Aaliyah. But the thing is, he's acting like he took some big stands. You see, man, that's why I didn't agree with that. So that's why you didn't see my name on the Best of Both Worlds with Jay-Z and R. Kelly. So, well, wait a minute, Dame. Your lie can be disputed in 2 minutes. Go look up the Fiesta remix. The Fiesta remix of Jay-Z. Look up that video. Dame Dash is in there dancing. Fiesta, Fiesta. It's like, wait a minute, bro. Come on, man. If somebody raped my girl, ain't no way, or whatever, sexually abuse my girl, ain't no way, ain't nobody coming to make me do a video. Now that he's got pulled to the rug about that. Oh man, I want to support my crew. Come on, man, stop it. Come on, you did not have to be in that. You talking about your name ain't signed. Your name wasn't signed on that album, but you were in the video supporting the guy. Come on, dude. Come on, that's just come on, Dame. Come on, that's the joke. Not saying that you didn't love Aaliyah, but you didn't care because you were, like I said, you were too busy flossing and saying you don't wear the same clothes more than once. That's where your head was at. Matter of fact, I think Dame wasn't Dame in the Twister. Twister was never signed to Rockefeller, even though he did some work with them. I think he was in that So Sexy remix video too with R. Kelly. I got to go back and look at that. Not Don't quote me on that, but I believe Dame was in one of those videos too. It was So Sexy and it was the remix. I mean, for the remix was R. Kelly, but I know for a fact he was in the uh Jay Z Fiesta video. But but he's acting like he's taking a big stand. Like, come on, bro, you lying, man. Stop it, man. And what happened with Dame, the reason he's in the position he's in, he thought he could talk to people the way he wanted to. There's a way to handle business. Look, you don't take mess from nobody. I mean, you handle business. If they try to snake you, you don't let it happen. If they do snake you business wise, that's what you got lawyers for, to take people to court for. You know what I mean? You can't be. There's so many videos of Dame screaming on people, cursing people out, and that's why people, now that he's kind of in bad shape, now people ain't really trying to deal with him. And listen to these stories. Choke Don't Joke, who was a videographer for Rockefeller. These dudes, I was with this dude. This dude was spending $400,000 every 2 weeks on vacations because he has to always go overboard. He can't just take a first class ticket. He's got to take a private jet. He can't just buy a nice hotel suite for whatever, $5 grand a night. He's got to, buy the whole floor like he's Michael Jackson or something like that. Just overspending, you know what I mean? And he was embezzling. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? He was using the money from Rockefeller that was supposed to go to Dame and it's supposed to go to Jay and Biggs, and using it for himself. And that was kind of where the relationship started to get strained. And that's just what it is. Real talk. Benny Siegel said, yo, man, Dame clipped me for $10 million. I'll post some of these videos. Now, when Combat Jack, rest in peace, Combat Jack, the interviewer, he interviewed him about that, and he said, "Yo, man, do you owe Beans $10 million?" Oh man, see, men don't talk about other men's business. You know what I mean? Now, he didn't want to answer that question, but he's quick to say that Lee Daniels didn't pay him his money for the money he gave him. You know what I'm saying? Jim Jones, Jim Jones was his boy. Even he said, like, F Dame, you know what I'm saying? Dame's a culture vulture. He said, no, man, Dame got enough for some money. He said, yo, man, we rob, we don't steal. You know what I'm saying? So this is why people have backed away from Dame. That's all it is. He didn't have to, hey, man, the old saying's right. Chances go around. Same people you see coming up, you see the same old faces coming down. You know what I mean? That he's burned his bridges with everybody. He thought he could talk to everybody the way he wants, and there weren't going to be no consequences to it. And now that he's basically been kicked out the industry, now he wants to talk some pro-black stuff. It's like, come on, man. Ain't nobody. That's why ain't nobody really taking him serious, man. I mean, he's talking about being independent, but the thing is, his stuff ain't popping. He makes these videos online, videos about hustlers. I mean, I guess that's just thing creatively. It don't make no money. And I'm sorry, I don't care what nobody says, dude. If you in 2013, Dame got hit with a $2.5 million tax lien. You know what I'm saying? He owed Uncle Sam a gang of money. But he's still talking about he's independent. Like, dude, nah. Do you rather work a 9 to 5 than owe Uncle Sam millions of dollars? If you can't pay your bills, it ain't worth being independent. That's one thing if you set up a business and, it usually takes, 3 years for you to make a profit, something like that. And you got some money pushed to the side, okay, that's cool. But nah, man, you owe Uncle Sam millions of dollars and you being broke. Nah, that's not. Forget being independent if you ain't got no money. You ain't got no money saved up. You know what I mean? You really ain't got no money coming in like that. That's crazy. And on top of that, and I'll put some video clips of this too. Dame, it got to the point where Dame was having so much financial struggles. He couldn't come back to New York. He's born and raised in New York. He couldn't come back because he owed child support. He said this out of his own mouth. And then in March of this year, he had to turn himself in to the New York authorities because he owed child support. He owed hundreds of thousands of dollars in child support. Like, dude, if that's being independent, I mean, nah, you don't want that kind of independence. Well, you can't even go to the city you've been born and raised because you owe money. You know what I'm saying? Now, now to keep it real, now with Jay-Z, now I do think Jay-Z's a better businessman. Now Jay-Z's kind of sold his soul. That's a whole nother video. But all in all, Jay-Z made better business decisions than Dame. Jay knows how to talk to people. Jay knows how to do good business. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's in the position he's in. And like I say, even if we want to throw Jay-Z from the equation, even Biggs is doing good on his own. Like I said, people don't even know who. Like, so I'm saying, that's why I say I see this whole Rockefeller thing from day one. A lot of people don't even know who Biggs is. Biggs was always behind the scenes. He didn't really like the spotlight like that. He was always in the cut. Hear me? He was always in the cut handling business, and even Biggs is doing well for himself. Look at what Biggs is doing nowadays. Biggs, I mean, the thing is, when everything went down with the Rockefeller breakup and all, they all made a decision. Hey, we were going to sell the company at a period of time. We weren't going to keep the company forever. So to this day, Biggs, go online and check out Big. Biggs got a clothing line called 4th of November. You can't keep the stuff inside. The stuff is always sold out. Go to, I think it's 4thnovember.com. That's Big's clothing line. A lot of people don't know that. All the stuff is sold out. The jeans, the outerwear, the hats. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing that on his own. You know what I'm saying? So Biggs is still making moves. You know what I'm saying? And he this year in February he executive produced a HBO film called OG. I think it was with Jeffrey Wright. You see what I'm saying? So Dame knows how to handle Biggs knows how to handle business. He ain't got to curse people out to get his point across. That's why he's still doing well, and he's the guy that was seen less than anybody. So what is that saying? I know the black empowerment thing sounds good to Dame now because he ain't got nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's going through these financial troubles and he's burned all his bridges. So that's what happened. That's what's happening to him, and it's a shame because he's a really smart guy. He's a smart businessman. He's very ambitious, and like I said, and to his credit, man, Rockefeller would not been what it was without Dame. Absolutely, but he burnt bridges with everybody, and that's why he's out the game. Ain't nobody messing with him no more. So now he wants to start this black power stuff, and people just ain't. People aren't following him. People aren't really taking him serious, man. You got to do it once. If he did this at the height of Rockefeller's success, people be more prone to believe that. But now that it's all over, he ain't really trying to fool with Dame. I mean, that's just what it is, and it doesn't look like it's getting better. Like I said, he just had to turn himself in March for unpaid child support. As you see, Biggs and Jay ain't got no problem with child support. It is what it is. Now, we're going to talk about Monique. Now, Monique, once again, very talented sister, very talented comedian. Like I said, I remember her back in the early 90s. She was on Def Jam. She's been doing her thing for a long time, since the early 90s. She's had a pretty successful film career and comedy career, kind of going on throughout the years. So you got to give her credit for that. Now, I guess the biggest thing, at least on the comedy side of things, that got her out there like that was the Queens of Comedy back in 2001. Now, Queens of Comedy was it was her, comedians Laura Hayes, Adele Givens, and some more. And they did very well. It was a package. All four of the comedians together. They had sold out shows across the U.S. They did well for themselves, most definitely. Now, I guess, her big break in movies was 2009 when Precious came out. Now, I can't lie. As far as Precious as a movie, I think that movie was pretty despicable. I can't lie. Just my personal opinion. Her role was pretty ghetto. I ain't gonna lie. It was. I'm not being lying. But, hey, man, the sister came in. She put in that work. She got Academy Award. Have to respect her for that. Now, according to her, she got paid $50,000 for Precious. Now, just from a business side of things, she should have got paid more for that. You talking about getting paid more? should have got paid more for that. $50,000, no. Now she should have at least at the minimum got 100,000. Probably about 200, 250. But to me, she should have negotiated that up front. $50,000, no. But at the same time, I understand that maybe she felt at the time, this is I get a supporting role in a big movie, and this can kind of lead to other things. So she took that money. Now, I guess this is where the problems kind of started for her in the industry. Because I don't believe Monique is as bad as people say that she is. Sometimes, they say sometimes it's a good and bad side of things, and a lot of times the truth is kind of right in the middle. Hey, Monique doesn't take any mess, and like I said, you don't have to. You don't have to take any mess from people. Look at Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle left $50 million on the table when Chappelle's show went off the air. But he just got back out there and grinded, and now he's back on the A list again. And they're paying him top dollar. So you don't take no mess from nobody. It's a line you gotta stand on. Dave Chappelle said it on on Oprah, where he said on that movie Blue Streak with Martin Lawrence, they tried to get him to wear a dress and he refused. So you don't take no mess from nobody. You handle business. Hey, I'm not doing that. Let's handle business and let's do it right. We don't have to do the extra stuff. I don't have to sell my soul. I'm here to do my work. Let me do my job or whatever. I'm gonna speak about something that's wrong, and you keep moving like that. Now, she took 50,000 for Precious. Maybe she thought this was just gonna lead to something else, and like I said, she did get her Academy Award for that. One thing about it is they asked her to promote. Now, this is part of the industry. People don't want to hear this, and like I said, people get emotional about this kind of stuff. When you go and promote something, they usually don't pay you extra for that, or they pay you little to nothing, if nothing. It's about the exposure, and that's in. And like I said, they usually don't for that for when they actually promote a movie. They usually pay for help. These companies pay for hotels and travel. That's almost like a part of the movie's budget. And that's something that's not glamorous. Going to staying at different hotels every night. You got to go to the Tonight Show one day, and you might have to go to the View another day, or whatever. You know what I mean? Back then, you got to go to these different shows to promote. It's not the fun part of it, and you might not get paid for it, but that's a part of the industry. To this day, Meryl Streep has what? How much? Yeah, 4 or 5 Academy Awards. She's still out there promoting when she does a movie. Denzel's got 2 Oscars, 2 Emmys, and a Tony. But when he comes out with a movie, he's out there promoting. You know what I'm saying? And both of them are making like 30 million a film now. They still go out there and promote. That's a part of the game. That gets your name out there. That gets people seeing you. That a lot of connections and things like that are made. That, man, I met Monique at the Tonight Show. She seemed cool. Let's put her in our next movie. That's how it works. And like I said, it's all about the exposure. They when you're on air talent, they don't really pay you a lot of money. That goes back to like the Ed Sullivan days. That's what they said that when you were like I said, for the music fans out there, they said, hey, if you made it to the Ed Sullivan, you made it. He didn't pay the artists that he had, the comedians on there a lot of money. You know what I mean? That was the exposure. Hey, the whole world was looking at you because everybody watched that show. Like I remember like hearing about Motown artists and things like that saying, hey, when we did Ed Sullivan, come that morning, our records were flying off the shelves again because they saw us. She refused to do it because they didn't pay her extra. And like I said, they usually don't. They pay you little to nothing, if nothing. But like I said, that's what you promote as far as movies. That gets you exposure, and that gets the movie exposure. It's something that's not glamorous, but that's something that is done. So I think she should have ate that. Hey, this is I'm trying to break. In the movie industry, I need to get out here and do this. I mean, that's just the way it goes. And like I said, they usually pay for hotels and travel. So you got to eat that. You got to go out there and promote. Not glamorous. That's a part of the industry. Now keep in mind, let's keep it real. You didn't really, during this time, you didn't really hear Monique talk about black empowerment. So when everything came to a head, let's keep it real. Okay, it was a Netflix boy. She wanted people to boycott Netflix in 2018 because she didn't get paid what Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock and Amy Schumer got. Now, like being honest, I haven't seen Monique do comedy in literally like 19, 18 years. I'm just being very honest. I really haven't seen Monique do comedy since the Queens of Comedy. I really haven't, and that was with 3 other women, to where you have sold out arenas. Right now, well, over the past year, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, and Amy Schumer are doing sold out arenas. Facts. And this industry is about what have you done for me lately. That's just what it is. She's talking about, she's the most decorated comedian and this, that, and the third. That's cool, but what seats, are you putting people in the seats right now? We're talking about, like I said, not personal business. Can you sell out arenas right now like Chris Rock, Amy Schumer, and Chappelle are? No. The answer is no. The answer is no right now. And like I said, when you did on a consistent basis, you had 3 other females with you doing that. It is what it is. And you have to realize that. She really made herself look bad on the Breakfast Club. And Charlemagne, whether you like Charlemagne or not, he just said, "Hey, they're selling out arenas right now. You aren't. What justifies you getting paid what they get paid? You know, whether you like it or not." I don't think Amy Schumer's funny personally. I don't. I don't. I'm sorry. But I can't argue with her numbers. Like I'm just giving you an example. Like no disrespect, like the show Friends. Like I don't think that show. I didn't think that show was funny personally. That's just not my cup of tea. I can't argue with the numbers. I didn't think the show Seinfeld was that funny to me. I actually like Jerry Seinfeld's stand up a little better, but the show Seinfeld I just didn't get it. I'm not gonna lie. Personally, I didn't get it. But that show was number one for what the 9 seasons or 10 seasons it was on. I can't argue with the numbers. And Monique just doesn't have the numbers that are equivalent to that. So now you have a reputation as somebody who's hard to work with that doesn't that basically doesn't want to promote and now like your best days are behind you. You don't want to work your way back up like everybody else does. So now that's a problem. It's no hey stand up is a hard thing, man. Chris Rock even said, Chris Rock does his movies in between, but he always said like, hey, when I'm doing stand up, that's all I'm doing for like 2 and 3 years. Um, I think I've read that Eddie Murphy said that he's returning to stand up, but even he said like, dude, and Eddie, it really gets no better than Eddie Murphy as far as comedy. I mean, when Eddie Murphy was in his prime, I mean, Eddie was a rock star with the leather suit. Eddie was selling out arenas back then. You know what I'm saying? 60,000, 80,000 seat arenas. Eddie was selling out arenas back then. Even Eddie said, "Yo, man, this comedy thing's a hard thing to do, especially when you haven't done it in a long time." Look on YouTube and watch his it's an interview he had with Byron. Was it Brian Gumble? No, Byron Allen talking about Delirious. He's like, dude, when you haven't done stand up in a while, you're on back to square one. You got to sit down and write. You got to take that material to the clubs, doing little paraphrasing, like doing little 10, 15 minutes sets, a few nights a week for about a year before you go out on the road. It's a lot of work that goes into it. So now, once you get it together and go out on the road, it's obviously financially beneficial and everything else, but it's a lot of work that goes into this. You know what I'm saying? And Monique don't want to. She just wants to, hit the ground running, and she hasn't put in the work at this time that Amy Schumer, Chris Rock, and Chappelle had. They've been. I know for Chappelle and Rock, they've been doing comedy since the late '80s, early '90s, and they're being introduced to a new audience because they came. They started working out again, going from square one again, and selling out arenas again, selling out shows again. And Monique is not doing that right now. Facts. Like I said, Dave Chappelle was kind of blackballed, but he just chilled, say I got enough money to relax or whatever, and then he came back and he's making what 30, $40 million, no, what $50 million from Netflix now. Hey, that's how you got to do it. And it's a very thin line about things when you're in the industry because even if you are because and that's almost the transition that everybody wants to go to. People do stand up, which they want to lead them into movies, and movies are a whole nother beast. You can't these people do not play around in movies. You're talking about millions of dollars at stake. That's why, and I'm gonna keep it real too. Cat Williams, the whole Cat Williams and Kevin Hart kind of issue. Cat Williams is man, this guy's phenomenally talented. Cat Williams is just this guy. He is really talented, and I actually Kevin Hart. I like some of his stand up. I like his movies better than his stand up personally, but earlier this year was a little bit, or last year there was a little rift between Cat and Kevin. And Cat said that the reason people like Kevin so much because he's kind of I guess he's clean cut and the white folks kind of push him to front in front of other black comedians that are maybe more talented. That I'm not saying that's true to a degree. I'm not gonna lie. Kevin does do that comedy that's more right down the middle, and hey, I'm not mad at that. Like I said, I like Cat's stand up better, but I can't get mad at that. At the same time, what Kevin said about Cat was correct as well. Cat was supposed to be the next guy on the come up, and the reason Kevin surpassed him was Cat was kind of wilding out a few years ago, and we have to be honest about that. Cat, say what you want, Cat was wilding out. I don't know what was going on with Cat. He kept getting arrested. You know what I'm saying? We see this dude fighting with 50-year-old in a playground. We see him punching a Target employee. It's just, I mean, he was just looking bad. He was just really strange behavior. Him doing these comedy sets and wilding out. I live in kind of a smaller town. And I'm talking about just behind the scenes. People were like, man, Cat, man, I don't know what's going on with Cat. I saw him perform last night. Like, people I know at work were like, man, he kept forgetting his lines, and he seemed like he was high, and he kept telling the same jokes. And I mean, I'm talking about this is like nothing that's on the front stage. This ain't something I'm making up. This is something that people personally told me. I don't know what was going on with Cat at the time. People said there's alleged drug use. I don't know. I just know that, at that time, Cat was wilding out. And like I said, not only did I'm not, and like I said, Cat is still doing this thing as far as stand up, as far as movies. Kevin went right past him because, hey man, as talented as you are, especially with these movies, man, these people do not play around these movies. They look at that from a distance like, nah, we're not touching Cat. You know what I mean? This dude, I mean, come on, man. You think, I mean, with a dude just on the outside looking at it as a business, I mean, which person are you going to pick? You're going to pick the person that's more reliable. You're not going to pick the person that keeps getting arrested. That's just what it is. Shoot, man, people won't hire you at McDonald's if you've been arrested so many times. You know what I mean? Really, like literally at McDonald's, if you got a person that's been arrested 30 times and a person that's never been arrested, most likely the manager is going to look at the person that has been arrested first. That's true. That's just what it is. And now people actually see Cat wilding out all the time. And it's like, man, like, man, it could be like, hey, man, we love Cat, man. He's really talented, but man, Kevin's more reliable. We don't hear about Kevin getting in trouble. We can't put, they're not going to run the risk of putting you in a movie that costs $70 million or $100 million, and you run the risk of messing things up. No matter how talented you are, I mean, people they're not gonna mess around with you like that in Hollywood. Shoot, even like Tupac, and Tupac was a phenomenal actor. He was supposed to be in a lot more movies, but at the time, he wasn't disciplined at the time. You know what I mean? He was always getting into it. These are stories that have been confirmed. He was always getting into it with people on the set or people out in the streets. You know what I'm saying? He's in this trailer, he's smoking, blazing trees, getting high. He's walking off the set random times. And luckily, the directors at that time were kind of able to, work with him the best they could. But he was supposed to be in a lot more movies. But, at that time he wasn't reliable. Of course, he changed that later on. And, like for example, he was supposed to be in Menace to Society. He got into it with the Hughes brothers because he felt like, that his role was too soft. He was supposed to be in Higher Learning, playing Ice Cube's part. But I think it was Columbia Pictures. They wouldn't fool with him at the time because of his actions, his reputation, and him being arrested and all that kind of stuff. Justified or not, they're not gonna fool with you. Now, like I said, later on, he became more disciplined and got those more diverse roles in the end, like gang related and gridlock and things like that. But man, they're not gonna mess around with you in Hollywood like that. So that's where Cat messed up himself, and I don't think he can get it back, at this point, unfortunately. But that's just the way it is. So I mean, you have to look at that everything from business perspective. Let's keep it real, especially when you black too. You got 100 white people that want your spot. If you black, you gotta be on your P's and Q's, and that's just what it is. You still gotta handle business, whether you like it or not. Sure. Why do you think Robert Downey Jr. is kind of just starting to get his wings back in the last decade? He's been a super phenomenon actor. I mean, that's super talented. I mean, he's had that from day one. But in the 80s and 90s, man, they were literally finding this dude in the crack house every week. So Hollywood stopped messing with him until he got himself together. Now that he's got clean, he's making these Iron Man movies and killing it. But before that, man, so now we're not putting this dude in no movie where he's got these drug issues. That's just what it is. And and unfortunately Monique's in that position now, in the dead man's land. And she, unfortunately, the people that tried to help her, like Tyler Perry, she had him on a phone conversation talking crazy with him. So now that bridge is burned. So she's kind of done in the industry right now. It's kind of a bad. I feel bad for the sister. You know, and a big reason, I hate to go here, I have to because it's real. Another big reason, that she's not having, success she needs is her husband, her husband slash manager, and that's why sometimes it's kind of hard to, um, hire people that are, hired. Her husband's still her family. It's hard for people to hire family because sometimes they want to, hey, they love you, and sometimes they're not going to tell you what you need to hear. Sometimes you can get an outsider. They're going to tell you, you pay me to do a job for you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Now, and no respect to her husband, he seems he seems like a good brother. He's very supportive, but business wise, doesn't seem like he's doing well for her at all. He just kind of strokes her ego. Um, like Monique, it came out Monique owes the IRS what $400,000. Like, dude, what kind of manager is this? Dude, if I got a manager and I owe Uncle Sam $400,000, dude, you need to fire him immediately. It's bad, man. And like I said, he kind of just strokes Monique's ego. He's like, well, Monique is the most decorated comedian. Richard Pryor said that Monique is like the female her, the female him. Like, that's cool, but does that put butts in the seats? And it's sad, man. Monique is like delusional. She's, talking like she's some shot caller in Hollywood. But like I said, at the same time, she's not getting any work. She's trying to, throw it all away and talking about boycott Netflix. You ain't got it going on like that. It's sad, man. It's like, if you all seen the movie Sunset Boulevard, Monique is like Norma Desmond without the money. For those of you who have seen that movie, it's definitely an all-time classic. Check it out. But that movie is basically about it's about a Hollywood, a guy writing movies for Hollywood, but it's about a lady named Norma Desmond. And she was, I guess second fiddle in that movie. But she's delusional that she's still a star in Hollywood. Like, she's talking about all the movies that she did, all the success she had, and that the directors in Hollywood are calling her, they're just waiting for her. But like, she's been washed up for years, but she can't understand that. Now, the thing that made it kind of more plausible to her is her lifestyle didn't change. She had I forget the character's name. She had a guy that worked for her that was like her butler that, made sure that, her finances were straight and her bills and everything were paid. So her lifestyle didn't change. She's still, wearing flashy clothes and driving in the finest cars, but she doesn't have a career. But at least she had that. But dang, man, Monique is struggling, owing to Uncle Sam $400,000, and you still talk of you like you a shot caller. That's bad, and she needs to get a manager that can tell her the truth and put her on track. Not a manager that's just going to kiss her behind all day when y'all are struggling. That's not the way it goes. Shoot, somebody like Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson was almost like the opposite of that. And shout out to Joe Jackson, man. But people try to front on Joe Jackson. If it wasn't for Joe Jackson, the Jacksons would not have the success that they did. That's what it is. That's where all those Jacksons got their work ethic from. Joe put that. Joe was almost like the opposite. Joe was like, hey, don't call me Dad, call me Joseph. But as a manager, the brother came correct. You know what I'm saying? At an early age, he had their work ethic set up. Those Jacksons worked hard as kids, just rehearsing, and still going to school because he knew what he wanted from them. He knew he wanted them to a better life for them. They might have not have had a childhood or whatever, but by the time they were in their teens, they were multi-millionaires. Joe kept grilling, hey, we got to practice that step again. Let's do it. He never got into the thing where, y'all my boys, so I'm going to just say this. No, do that step again. Michael, sing that song again. He drilled them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that movie was very accurate. All the Jacksons were involved, and I think Jermaine was the producer. That part where the Jacksons American Dream movie, where they were playing basketball, and he was like, hey man, time to get in the studio again. And they were like, man, I don't feel good. He said, man, the Osmonds don't feel good either, but their songs get played on the radio, played on the record, played on the radio day and night. So let's go in the studio. Let's have it. Come on, let's go. You know You know what I mean? That's what a manager does. He didn't let them say, hey, and at the time, the Jacksons had, what, 3 or 4 number one hits? You figured it's something they had already moved to the Beverly Hills or whatever, or Encino where they live, and in California, got this big mansion. So you say, hey, let's chill. No, no. He's like, no, let's keep it going. You know, he as a kid, he always told them to save their money. Michael was a hard worker. Where do you think he got that from? You know what I'm saying? Even later on in their career, and like I said, this is what a manager does. When things started to slow down for them at Motown, he's like, "Yo, man, we can go to Columbia Records. We get more money, and I want you guys to have more to take it to the next level." He said, "I want you guys to have more creative control. You guys can write your own music, produce, and record your own music. You know what I mean? So you got the creative control to do what you want. And now we're talking about publishing. You know what I mean? That's where the big money comes from. You writing songs. You cats can write your own songs. That's how you get the big money. You don't want to just be just an oldies act on Motown. You know what I mean? You start writing, those checks never stop coming. Like I'm saying, with this, if we write these hit songs, these songs will still play decades later, which they are. Y'all get a bigger percentage. You know what I'm saying? That's what a manager does. A manager don't just stroke your ego, you know what I mean, till the cows come home. You know what I mean? A manager tells you what you need to hear. You know what I mean? That's what Joe Jackson did. That's what Monique's husband's not doing. He's just stroking her ego, and while she's been banned from the industry, and owes Uncle Sam all this money. That's not how it works. So that's what I'm saying for both of them. Like Dame Dash, he's talking about being independent and all, but I don't care how independent you are. Like Tariq Nasheed, he makes the Hidden Colors movies, or Jason Black makes his documentaries. These dudes make high quality documentaries. It's a lot of work that goes into that, and they don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying, as far as when they started making these movies, they didn't know everything. They had to get professional people that would do a professional job. Okay, this is the direction I want, but okay, Tariq or whatever. Hey, you need Jason. You need this kind of light to do the documentary. You need these type of microphones. You need this. You need that. This is how you need to go through so and so to get this research from the library. Whatever. You got to get professional, and their documentaries are selling off the shelves. Hit documentaries, but they know how to handle business professionally. So you can't have, and they talk black empowerment all day. They talk black empowerment basically since day one. They didn't wait till their career took a hit, and then now you want to be black. You know what I'm saying? No, you do that at the beginning of his success, and that's what it is. And basically, Monique, Dame Dash, he's burned his bridges with people, and so is Monique now. And that's why they're having their issues, man. Like I said, a black is a lifestyle. It ain't you don't talk to black empowerment like Monique did. Oh man, I want to speak about the sisters aren't getting money. The black women ain't getting money. You know what I mean? But you weren't saying that during your prime. You're saying it because you're saying like they aren't giving you a fair shake, but you aren't selling clubs out like these other people are. Even our counterparts like Adele Givens. I see still Adele Givens and some more on the road, but she won't get on the road. She just wants to get paid like that. Don't work like that. Dame Dash, he makes these movies. How is it that he's been in the I guess you would say the film industry since really the mid '90s, but yet Tariq and Jason have only been doing this for maybe a decade as far as making these documentaries, and the documentaries sell like hotcakes, and Dame Dash hasn't. You know what I'm saying? They don't be. They don't have to do all that cussing out and flipping on people on the set. They handle business professionally, and that's how you get things done. And that's why they're out of the game right now. It's not because nobody's holding them back. They didn't handle business properly. And they disrespected the people that tried to help them, and that's why they're in the position they are. So I know this video's kind of long. I just want to break that down from a perspective. Like I said, if anybody wants to comment, that's cool. Let's have an intelligent conversation, please. Not the females, I understand the ladies, because the ladies are emotional at times, I understand, but too many of you dudes, man, unfortunately, a lot of you brothers you cats didn't grow up without dads, you're real emotional, let's have an intelligent conversation. If you disagree, that's fine, let's have an intelligent conversation, none of the third grade name calling and all other kind of stuff. Alright, no, it's a long one, y'all have a good day, take care.